Well, officials in the Iraqi towns of Tikrit and Mosul say a significant number of IS group fighters have withdrawn as Iraqi security forces prepare for another major ground and air offensive to reclaim the cities. The strategic cities fell to the Islamic State back in June. Government troops are making gains in a number of key towns in northern Iraq. They've broken a 2-month siege by IS fighters in the town of Amerli. Al Jazeera's Turton will have more from there, but first, here's her report on the latest fighting.
As the Islamic State fighters have retreated from the towns of Suleiman and Amerli, those towns being cleared over the last 2 days, the front line has now moved to the south and to the west towards the city of Tikrit. There is a report by Human Rights Watch saying that there have been mass executions of Iraqi army soldiers in Tikrit, and other reports coming out today saying there was an Iraqi Air Force attack on an area there that seemed to have hit the wrong target. A college was housing some refugees, and we understand over 30 refugees have been killed in that air attack, including women and children. There is another front line going on further to the north of there, the Mosul Dam area, and to the south. There are airstrikes still continuing there as the battle rages between the two sides. And there has been an airdrop of leaflets on the city of Mosul, that city held by Islamic State fighters for some time now. The leaflets saying to the local people, you should leave, otherwise you'll be caught up in a bombing that is coming soon.
The siege had been broken, but the threat remained. As we arrived, the Iraqi army was tracking pockets of IS fighters in and around the town. 7 were killed. It made our military escort nervous. But the welcome was heartening. IS forces had surrounded this town for months. If they'd been overrun, the Shia Turkmen community had feared a massacre would follow. The women had taken no chances. They knew what IS fighters were capable of.
Yes, we heard what they'd done in other villages, so we prepared. Our men and boys went to the front line and we made food and water for them. We told them, you go to the front and we will stay downtown. Everyone was taught to use a weapon, so when they attacked our town, we could fight back.
One grandmother told me that boys as young as 8 years old were carrying weapons in order to defend this town against the IS fighters. Now they're free and they're cheerful, but who knows what sort of damage the besieging of this town has done to these young minds.
The children were really afraid, so we hid them under the steps when the attacks began. They were still frightened, really frightened, because they're kids. They were all crying and scared. There were even pregnant women who had stillborn babies.
Life had become desperate as food and water supplies ran dangerously low.
We made do when we had nothing. When we needed water, we drilled for it.
Aid is beginning to trickle in. 2 businessmen from a nearby town brought this truckload. These are badly needed supplies, but the flow of people into the town is a worry, as many IS fighters who had been driven back from Amerli have since blended back into the surrounding communities. We left Amerli heading east to Suleiman Beg. It had been occupied by IS forces since the 13th of June. The battle to drive them out had left it a ghost town. The smell of cordite and death hung in the air. This was the police station. The Islamic State forces had used it and the nearby courthouse to arrest and punish those who didn't conform. This is why the people here fought so hard to protect their land and their families. But they know the battle is far from won. Turton, Al Jazeera, Amerli.